G'day guys, Tom here doing another product video. So today we're going to be talking about our leads. We're going to be talking about everything from the purpose of the leads, the colour, a little bit of a demonstration, and some of the options for the leads that you're going to have. So here we go. Okie dokie, so look, when it comes to the purpose of the lead, or any lead for that matter, the main purpose is control. In order for you to retain control and situational proximity to your dog, you need to have them attached to a lead. Now, obviously the function of this lead can vary in terms of what you are using it for. So for example, if you're using your dog for search, you may want a longer line. If you are tracking, you want a longer or maybe an intermediate line. Or if you are doing something in close proximity, you may want a snub lead, or you may want a 6-foot lead if you're just going for a walk and if you need a little bit more control with your dog. Now, leads can be used for anything from just taking your dog for a walk to doing an on-lead building search, tracking an offender, hauling up or down an obstacle, and things like training scenarios. So recall, for example. The lead is not as important as the thing that it's attached to, in my opinion. The lead is a relatively basic piece of equipment. Essential, yes, but it depends what you clip the lead to. Now, what you clip the lead to is going to dictate what you use it for. So for example, tracking, you might want to use the lightweight harness or the GP harness. If you're hauling, you may want to attach it to the canine TV, the canine tactical vest. So really, the most important part, in my opinion, is what it is attached to. For example, if you are trying to train some sort of NEPOPO, negative reinforcement based training scenario, teaching a dog to let go or recall, something like that, flat collar may not be the best option for you. You may need to use a slippy or a pinch or a martingale, for example. So at the end of the day, the lead length is what's going to dictate your role, and what you attach the lead to is going to dictate the function and how you use that piece of equipment. So the lead is essential, absolutely essential, but it is simply the conduit between yourself, the dog, and what the dog is wearing. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the components of our leads, and we're going to start from one end, being the handler and the handle end, and we're going to work our way down to the dog end. So when it comes to the handle, this is what we call Tough Tech. Tough Tech we use on a lot of our products. It's a material infused rubber from a company in the US, and it's going to give you a bit of a better grip in order for you to grab your lead. We also use this on our harnesses and our handles for our collars. And when you feel it, it's almost like a rubbery sort of faux leather type feel, if that makes sense, but it's going to be really good grip for you so you don't lose control. Now we're going to move down to the actual construction of the lead, right? This is what we call a nylon mil-spec 17337 25mm or 1-inch piece of webbing. Now this has a 907 kilogram, which is 2,000 pound minimum breaking strain. So it's extremely strong stuff, guys. It's very lightweight. It's not some cheap piece of crap that's just going to snap and wear away in the sun. It is UV treated, and those are the breaking strains. So it's extremely strong stuff. Now move all the way down to the bottom. We've got our double box stitch here, which holds on our steel clip gate here. Now this is simply a thumb operated one. This is made of steel from a Czech company, and it's got its own inbuilt swivel, so there's no need to have an additional swivel, and that's going to stop you getting tangled up. And that, guys, that's the components for all of our leads, regardless of the length. The material's the same, the clip's the same, the grip is the same. The only thing that changes is length. So in terms of length, we've got your standard length, which is 6 foot, and that's 1.8 meters. We've got our 10-foot lead, and that is a 3-meter lead. We've got our 15-foot lead, which is 4.5 meters. And then we've got our 30-foot lead, which is about 9 meters thereabout. Now, each length will dictate the type of job that you're doing, and that's a topic for another video, but essentially you just choose based on what your role is. Obviously, your longer leads are going to be used for punching out a bit further, for on-lead searches, tracking, detection, those sort of roles, and your shorter ones are going to be used maybe for your more tactical roles like moving in an urban environment or a CQB environment, for example. Okie dokie guys, so we're going to go on with a very quick demonstration of how I use the leads and potentially a way that you can use them. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually holding the lead, okay? So obviously you've got your handler end being the handle where the grip is. Now personally I do what's called a thumb lock. I'll get my thumb, I'll put my thumb inside the loop like this, I'll fold my hand over so that the grip is in my palm, and I'll simply close my hand. And as you can see, when I've closed my hand, my thumb sits there at the top exposed with the grip over the top. So now that when I pull down, it's gonna lock against my thumb like that, and then I've still got control here of the actual lead itself. Now the reason I prefer this grip is A, I find it extremely strong. B, I find it's a lot easier to use, so when I hold it, I can use my larger shoulder and back muscles to hold the lead in place if I really have to hold against it. And the other reason is if for whatever reason I do have to let go rapidly, I simply let go like this and it just comes off your hand. Now, alternatively, you can put your wrist all the way through like this. And yes, that is going to give you an extremely strong grip, but the reason I don't like this is because I feel there's a little bit less control, it's a bit less dexterous, and I don't have the same manipulation and speed of letting go as I do with my hand like this, because I like to get a good bit of positive feedback and I like to feel the lead moving out with the dog and then me bringing it back in as I cast them, for example. So I find that if I have my hand all the way through like this, I just don't get the same feedback. So once you've got our grip sorted, guys, what I do personally is I'll generally keep one hand reasonably close to my body, tucked in like this. And my left hand, my non-master hand, is what feeds the lead in and out, like this. Okay, and I simply loop it over a finger like that, so that when the lead extends, it just goes off my finger. So when I pull the lead back in, I pull it, hook it, pull it, hook it, pull it like this until it's just the length that I want, and I can simply let go once the dog starts to move out again. So for me, that's the way I hold the lead. Now, a relatively obvious one, but I'm going to go through it anyway. The clip on the end, all you were going to do is you're going to simply put your thumb on here, slide it down, that opens the lock, and you're then going to put that onto your piece of equipment. Now, personally, I like to put it upside down. So the open part is on the top, I let it go, and I just find that I can see that all the time. I know whether it's come undone or if it's twisted, and I just find that if something's going to rattle against the dog, I'd rather it be this softer, sort of more graduated edge than the top, which is the actual clip itself. Now, this is a safety mechanism for you, which is why I prefer it to be up the top, not being interfered with by the collar, the dog, or the harness. And that's it, guys. That's the way that I like to use the leads. So further to the actual use of the lead, and when it comes to your handling, what I like to do in terms of storage for this lead, now there are a couple of different options, guys. If you are using our lead storage pouch, you can fold this back up, stow it away, and it's going to be there ready for your next rapid deployment. That's more pertinent to your long leads. However, when you're using it every day, which is your 6-foot leash or your 1.8 meter leash, what I like to do is I like to get the clip, I just put it over my head like this. So just wrap it over your head, almost like you're wearing a scarf, okay? You're gonna take these two ends, I'm gonna open the clip and I'm gonna take it around my back like this. And what I do is I clip it to the actual lead itself. And then I have, my lead is now on me. It's not hindering my neck. it's generally not going to be in the way of my equipment. And if I'm wearing armor, for example, it's going to go and roughly contour where my armor goes and not really be in the way of my radio equipment, my magazines, things like pistol holsters, etc. And then when I do need it, I simply unhook it from the back here, the same way we put it on, unhook it, and I'm ready to rock. And I've got the end of the clip here, and I've got the handle there. So all I need to do is just throw it over my head, attach it to the dog, and I'm good to go. Now, obviously this is going to depend which is your dominant hand, your master hand versus your non-master hand. What you are going to want to do, whichever hand you normally use to hold the lead, that's the side that you're going to wrap it. So for example, I'm right-handed because that's the primary hand that I use for my weapon. What I'll do is I'll have the grip on my right-hand side and I'll clip this up around my left. Now when I put the lead on, I've got my hand free, but when I do need to use it, all I've got to do is I just simply grab the handle, and when I take it off, I'm ready to go. And I've then got my hands ready to deploy my dog, and I've already got this strong, sturdy anchor point. So as soon as I clip it onto my dog, if they're going to surge forward, I've already got positive control. And that's how I operate with the lead. Okay guys, when it comes to options, you've got two different types of options. You've obviously got your color options, and for the leads, we've got lengths. So in terms of length, we've got your standard length, which is 6 foot, and that's 1.8 meters. We've got our 10-foot lead, and that is a 3-meter lead. We've got our 15-foot lead, which is 4.5 meters. And then we've got our 30-foot lead, which is about 9 meters thereabout. Now, each length will dictate the type of job that you're doing. And that's a topic for another video, but essentially you just choose based on what your role is. Obviously your longer leads are going to be used for punching out a bit further, for on-lead searches, tracking, detection, those sort of roles, and your shorter ones are going to be used maybe for your more tactical roles like moving in an urban environment or a CQB environment, for example. So those are your options when it comes to length. As for colour, we've got our standard 4 colours, guys. We've got our multicam black, our multicam green, our coyote brown, and our plain black. And those are your options for the leads.